What's going on, everybody? It's Obi-Wan Kenobi night if you're on the West Coast, morning if you're on the East Coast. It's time for part 5. We didn't get too much of a chance to talk about part 4, so maybe we'll talk about part 4 heading into part 5 here. Only 2 parts left to go. This time next week will be the airing of the finale of at least season 1. So, it's come and gone pretty quick. I definitely have some reservations about certain things, but for the most part, I have loved everything we've gotten to see. Where are you, Johnny, with this?
I mean, there's definitely, I don't want to say there have been things that have, sort of dragged me down and bogged me down, but I mean, to a degree, there has been, but um, I've been satisfied with everything to this point. I mean, for me, I think, I know that we talked a bit about it, and I know that the lengths have been kind of drumming you down, but I'm at this point in my viewing experience, I watch things like this for the binge. And if after when next week comes and I sit down and watch the whole thing over again eventually, with my family, um we'll watch it from start to finish, not necessarily in one sitting, maybe in 2 sittings, and that'll change the viewing experience a great deal, when you're not when it's what we're looking right now at 5 hours, and what's the guesstimated runtime that's going around because of the screenings? 5 hours and 30 minutes or 25 minutes? You're muted.
Shows as 5 hours and 20, but that also includes the Q&A, so I think it ends up being 4 hours and 50 minutes.
And then that also breaks down to I mean, when you sent me the graphic the other day, I had some questions that we don't have answers to, and we won't have answers to. Is that a cut? Like, does that include the Q&A? Because it doesn't specify. We assume that it does, but it doesn't specify that,
It
or at
sounds
least it didn't at that point.
it includes the Q&A. We've done the runtime. Right, tonight's basically 40 minutes, and the next episode's basically an hour. So that's what you got left.
I mean, and then the question was for me was, is this a theater specific cut that eliminates the credits and the previously ons at the start and conclusion of every episode, which is an extra 10 minutes per episode on
As
Disney Plus.
far as we know, no, it includes credits as well. So this series in actual runtime is going to be probably a smidge above 4 hours, which is obviously a lot less than what was promised. That said, I stand by, even though it's less than what was promised, I really do like everything we've gotten outside of the pacing of the 4th episode, which was a dumpster fire.
I didn't necessarily have issues with that. I mean, I understand the
So wait, hang
complaints.
on. You didn't have issues with, okay, we're laying on the ground on Mapuzo, by the way, what a name. Mapuzo. My Puzo's itchy, It's like, come on. So literally, this happens within 5 minutes. Go time it out. They're on Mapuzo. They're on a transport. They're on Jabim. Obi-Wan's getting stretchered. Obi-Wan's in Bacta. Vader's in Bacta. Obi-Wan is asking some guy we've never met one time, even though obviously we knew of him as a character coming. Like there's no real intro there. It just randomly picks up mid-scene, it feels like. And then all of a sudden we are on Ner, all in 5 minutes. I'm sorry, that's not Star Wars storytelling. That's nowhere
I
close.
mean, I can't argue that specifically, but I mean, like, but that's story beats, not just travel beats. Like, I know a lot of people are picking up on the, oh man, there are 3 different planets in 5 minutes. The Star Wars can't do that. Well, travel in Star Wars has always sort of played with the, if an important conversation or battle doesn't occur, the travel is fast. If something important needs to happen on the travel, or if there's combat or something like that, then they take their time.
But do they? Because the back to take was supposed to be
In
pretty
in this instance, I'm agreeing that in this instance there was a little too much too fast. I'm saying, like, some people are like complaining, oh man, they went from if they went from Nur to Jabim and like snap of your fingers. Well, okay,
it's more
why
so
wouldn't they?
than it is, hey, 3 places. It's more like hey, 7 scenes in 5 minutes.
That part I'll agree with. It was definitely, very
Too much.
snappy and bang bang bang, and you
To
know
me, it did a disservice to everything we got later on in the episode, all the Jedi Fallen Order stuff, and
it hurt. It did hurt a bit, and there were definitely some parts later on that, if you were going to keep such a short episode, could have been taken out to allow for a bit more, exposition in the early parts of the episode. And I'll agree with that standpoint. There were definitely, I know we had the comparisons to Jedi Fallen Order with the, how Obi-Wan gets into the facility. That's great, but unnecessary to the story. If you don't do that, you can spend another 2-3 minutes on Nur or Mapuzo, whichever one. Is it
Nur's the water
Mapuzo?
yeah.
Yeah. So whichever one the rebellion hideout is on. You could have spent some of that extra time there and not
It's
had
yeah.
and not have so much, you know, weird exposition later on, like Obi-Wan breaking into the facility or some of his, you know, uh, shenanigans inside the facility, which I thought to me was. I think my biggest issues with the series so far is that they're missing moments that are Star Wars moments. Like one of the big ones is the meme that's gone around, like from episode 2 with Obi-Wan and Leia outside of when they get the ship with the Imperial ship. Is that 2 or is that 3?
It's
3.
three.
That's 3.
Yeah.
When they're on that carrier and she's like, "Say hi, Dad," and he's like, "Hello," like, this is Obi-Wan Kenobi. Say hello there. Give us the moment. And then you have he knocks out a stormtrooper and he's infiltrating a Imperial facility. Star Wars 101 says put on the stormtrooper outfit. It's that's Star Wars 101, but you didn't do those ones, and I kind of hoped we would have got that sort of juxtaposition of Obi-Wan saving Leia the same way her brother does it in 20 years, not 20 years, not 18 years, 10 years. I guess at this point it's like 9 years.
I think Kenobi does it better.
I'm not saying he doesn't, but it would have been more.
I mean, Han and Luke have some pretty cool improvisation, but at the end of the day, Kenobi's still the one that allows them to escape then too. So
Oh no, for sure, but it just would have been more Star Warsy, I guess, is my critique. But that's just nitpicking. That's me picking at things and saying like, man, I kind of wish they'd have done this instead, or they'd have done that instead. And we can nitpick all day long, but they're personal nitpicks. They don't, sure, would they make my viewing experience better? Yes, but they're not detrimental to the story.
yeah, I thought the first 5 minutes was pretty detrimental to the story of the last episode. It really took me out. I had to watch the episode probably 3 times before I was finally like, okay, let me just forget about the first 5 minutes and how horrifically that's constructed and focus on the rest of the episode.
See, I just looked at it more as there's a payoff coming later. Because to me, anyway,
No,
O'Shea
there is.
Jackson Jr.
No,
doesn't get
we're
30 seconds in this, and then you never see him again.
no, instead he's like, "It's too dangerous," and, "Okay, never mind, you've changed my mind, even though you've said basically nothing. I'll help you."
It
I
just
changed my mind. I reminded myself I had a wife.
it's the little things that you see that kind of make you go, oh, like I don't know. I mean,
Oh, we'll see, because
yeah.
this episode tonight, whether we get to talk about it tonight or another night, remains to be seen, but, um, it has something in it anyways that everybody has been clamoring for a while, and that is unless something has gone terribly wrong, it's supposed to be a pretty big Hayden episode for him. So
I mean, that would make sense though within the confines of the story, and where we are in it. For this to be the point where we sort of spend a bit more time with Vader and expand on Anakin's story here, because you know obviously we're gearing up for the invasion of.
Vader's definitely in this episode. I just don't know how much he's in this episode, and there's no gearing up. There's no time to gear up. It's the whole episode's the invasion. It's a big It's from what I understand, it's you get a tiny bit of setting at the beginning, and then it's basically the same length as last week, but like all battle from there on in. So my guess is we don't know it, but they probably followed them out of the system.
Oh, there's no question. I mean, we know they had the tracker on
Oh, for
Lola.
sure. I just think they're much closer to them than they think. So, and then again, I don't know how they discover. I don't know if they just come out of hyperspace and it's oh, you came out of hyperspace too close to the planet. I don't know if it's a callback to Empire. My guess is it might be because literally every single episode has rhymed with every single episode of the first six Star Wars movies. One is Phantom Menace, two is Attack of the Clones, three is Revenge of the Sith, four is A New Hope, and now tonight will be Empire. So
I mean, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, to me, I didn't see it, but now that you've pointed it out, it's like, oh, yeah, no, that definitely, yeah, that checks out. Um, I don't know. I mean, it definitely. I'm not too worried about it if I'm being honest. I think what I don't want to say I'm already satisfied, but to a certain degree I am. Because I don't think it's going to be very hard for them to come out of these last two episodes and have me think, man, this was not good. They'd have to really fall flat on their face at this point. And could they? I mean, absolutely.
I don't know if I want to go as far as what you're saying, but I'll say this: I'm satisfied with what we've gotten to this point. But the trajectory, anyways, for the most part, has been. It's time to go back up a little bit. I think. Like for me, when I rate the episodes, it's 1, 3, 2, 4. Um, so
It's tough for me. I can't really sit here and rank them effectively right now because we haven't seen them all. And I think once I actually sit down and watch it again, I'll be able to better you know rank them as far as which ones are better than others. Because for me, so far, every episode has sort of served its purpose for me. Just as far as the story goes. There hasn't been any episode where I'm like, man, this did not move the story. There's nothing important happening here. This is crap. So I, there's definitely some room to improve, but honestly, not much for me, for my experience.
I think that you need a much better lightsaber battle because if you don't and it resembles I understand why the first one looked the way it did, made all the sense story-wise, but you better not come back with that shit again in episode 6 because then people are gonna shit all over it.
Oh, and that's a whole
They're
different
they're
thing.
gonna like,
Like that. That's
it's not gonna be Mustafar, but it's
oh
also
god, no,
not gonna be A New Hope. It needs to be somewhere right
in the
smack
middle.
dab in the
Yeah.
middle, and we have not gotten that yet.
No, but I mean, I think that was, I don't want to say necessary, but to me, that made perfect sense.
So far, yeah.
Because, to this point, everything has been what it's supposed to be, and yes, of course, if they don't pay off the Obi-Wan Anakin second battle, yeah, that'll be one of those very easy ways that, can sort of ruin my experience of this series. Because it does need to be better than it was. And, had that been the only time they interact, I definitely would have been let down and, unimpressed. But, it's very clear they're setting up for that actual climactic battle. And I'm
Yeah.
interested in it. And at the same time, I'm sort of, you know, I don't know. Like, there's definitely things that have felt weird to me, and things that have, like for me, the rush at the end was, for me, the rush in that episode, like, yes, the beginning was rushed, but it was Vader's appearance there at the end. Because that was like just as they're escaping. So was Vader there? Did he just arrive as they're leaving?
That's what I mean. There's no sense of
Like
time.
that one is more
Uh,
confusing to me because there's no.
was it was it 2 minutes later? Was it half an hour later? Was it 5 hours later? we really don't know.
Well, I mean,
And
that's the problem, is because immediately after they show that, it's when they do the pan out that shows, the small ship, or the speeder, not the ship, the speeder flying into the. Um, I don't know if that was I don't know which class of
oh,
ship that was, because we
there
didn't really
was
get to see it.
snow speeder, modified snow speeder, T-47.
Yeah, no, but I'm talking about the actual cruiser ship
Oh,
that they
I
get on. We
don't
didn't really get a good look to see
know.
if it was a.
Be seen in the Phantom Menace.
Because I mean, I know it wasn't a Tantive class ship,
I think it's just a transport for the most part. So
and if that would make sense, they're sort of.
I think Palpatine arrives in something similar to that on Naboo.
And that would make sense to be from that sort of era. Um, but that was the one that kind of took me out of the timing, because you go right from Vader showing up in that chamber, and Riva being like, I have a plan, we're tracking them. I let them go. 43 minutes. Episode just dropped.
43 minutes.
43.
So it's 4 minutes long. Hey, that's exactly the like, sent Making Star Wars a message today. I said I'm pretty sure that the episode lengths are with credits and stuff.
Would you like to feel depressed?
43 minutes and an hour and 4 minutes. What's that?
Miss Marvel also dropped its second episode.
Oh, yeah,
52
yeah, I
minutes.
guarantee you they're longer. Yeah, the first one, yeah, it is what it is. I mean, that one's on Lucasfilm. End of story.
Absolutely. I mean, so it's it's going to be interesting. I mean,
Let's end with this though. Let's end with this again, because we don't know if we're going to be back tonight. We're going to try to be back tonight. I can't control what's going on with Jensen in there. So, let's end with this. How do we live without you? Do 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 do. Let me tell you, there's nothing worse than a movie or a TV show that wants you to care about a character that you don't know, you've hardly seen, had 1.75 lines, um, and just and again, I'm not hating on the episode just to hate on it. It's actually kind of funny, but at the same time, it's like, oh yeah, I can hear him yelling in there. Oh great.
I sat there watching that, and when Reva throws the explosive canister thing at them, I'm just sitting here like, you're shooting guns at this facility. Big, giant, explosive cache 10 feet to the left of the Imperial people that are, you're trying to escape from. Let's maybe blow that up. No?
Time will tell, my friend. Time will tell. I have no idea what's going to go on. I have a feeling I'm going to walk out of this room and I might not be seeing an episode for a while. So we will wait and see. I will keep you as up to date as I can, and the audience is up to date as I can, although 90% of our audience watches the next day. So, anyways, that's going to do it for us for now. Part 5. At least it's longer than part 4.